So, welcome everybody to our series of webcasts, Insight. Know today to lead tomorrow. We usually invite people here who are eminent business leaders to discuss how they are getting along with their today so that we can get meaningful information and make our tomorrow better. So today it gives me immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Manoj Prasad from Reliance in our show. And his profile, like the more I talk about him, it would be a little less than what he has actually done, because he has done wonders in the space of transformation and leadership. So he has like these international and credentials, and globally he has worked with different geographies in digital transformation, organization development, and learning technologies. He has led end-to-end transformations in structure changes as well as in digitization, emerging technologies across the world. So he's worked in the US, he's worked in Europe, APAC, and Pan India. So, Mr. Manoj, welcome to our show.
Yeah, thank you, Sudeshna, for such a wonderful opportunity and also the platform which you have provided through Marg. It's really pleasure for me to be a part of this particular attractions, and also sharing some of my credentials, which is a kind of a unique credentials, working with the various time zones, multinational companies, then multi locations spreaded across all the 7 continents, and also those are kind of excitement which I just wanted to share through this particular platform, which can give us a kind of I can say a kind of a kick to the people, those who are completely related to managing end-to-end transformations for their organizations, or as a consultant for or as a subject matter expert to various other companies. So that's really a good platform for us to share. Since in 2007, and it was not by choice, it was by accident only, because I was just moved to US, and my boss said, you are doing a change management for the various client organization, why don't you go for this particular certification? So these certifications, yes, it's added a lot of the structure approach, and also giving you a different kinds of the dimensions which you have to manage when you are taking a journey for the organizational change management. And currently, if you see, I mean, if I quote some of the studies which is being done by either by Gartner or even the Cotter, also they provide a lot of insights on the change management. Almost 80 to 85%, the companies or the organizations, they are going for a transformations. So when I'm saying transformation, it's not transformations which is related with the technology. It is also related with a lot of the business processes, a lot of the the culture part. But the center for the entire transformation is the people. People, why I'm saying people, you can change technology and the processes overnight, but you cannot change the people mindset. And this change management, which we are talking of, it's managing the softer part. And some of the research being done, some of the experience I do have, because change management is not something like you just plug and play and then people will get adopted to the new ways of working kind of thing. So it's a change with the mindset, which promotes to the individuals to go for skilling and reskilling. And moreover, I just wanted to say here, we know the technology skills, we know the behavioral skills, but change management is the life skills. So you should focus on the life skills, because that comes through a passion. And I do have passion for managing change management with my all the engagement which I have done it in last 26 years, working with the various organizations, Indian as well as the Fortune 100 companies. Change management is something like if you're going into a huge organization, it's boiling the ocean, and that boiling the ocean is not no easy things. But yes, I think in some of the organizations where we have done it, I mean, the change management, it was integrated part of the overall program management. In some of the organizations where we have done, it's a plug and play kind of thing. So you just come, when your role is there. But now the change management perceptions in the world, it's changing. It's going for a big transformation itself. So change management is now being, not a talk of the corporate only. I wanted to make a change. I want to make the transformation, because that is not going to give the overall what kind of the impact or the outcome you are looking forward. So it's always better that you should try to plug the change management right in the beginning of the the transformational program. In spite of putting into the meet time and then getting in and looking forward that yes, this particular change management, I put 2 3 consultant of the change management, they are going to bring a lot of the value additions on that. So that's not the way we should do it. I think it's always been right in the beginning when you're talking about the transformation program, because these change managers are not only managing the behavioral part, the people, the mindset part, but they are also managing a lot of the business changes which is coming, and how to get the buy-in not only from the sponsors or the top management or the leadership group, but also from all the employees or the project management team, those who are part of this particular. Yeah, Sudeshna,
I
over to you.
completely agree. Yeah, I think your immense insight onto transformations gives us those opportunities to ask, since the career span which you are having, how do you see changes changing? Meaning the kind of changes we used to do a decade back and the kind of changes which enterprises are doing now. What shift are you seeing? And do you see also an equal shift of how leaders look at it?
I can define change management in two ways. One, of course, whenever you are going for any kind of a change in the organization, so that change may trigger particularly, 5 6 aspects I can talk of. So the change may happen because of the merger and acquisitions. The change may happen because of the outsourcing or co-sourcing. So maybe some of your processes or some of your assets you wanted to outsource. And we have a lot of examples like Tata. They are basically into manufacturing of the steel, but if you take the Tata, they have also acquired some of the captive, the coal mines. They have also started some power generations for only for the steel manufacturing and all.
Yeah.
But that's not the core business. So the change management also happened because of the cultural shift, and we have seen it in one of the companies called TCS. When they bought Mr. Sika there, and he wanted to bring a lot of changes and a lot of I can say the cascading impact in the organizations. So if you see the leaders, leaders should be always they should be, I can say, their role should be defined as a servant leader. So don't lead by putting yourself in the front, and the rest of the people will be the followers and all. It's always good that uh, you should be in the back and support the team for driving the change, because change is a mass movement, I can say it. It's you cannot say I have just done the change, and which is basically into a small pocket and I'm just enjoying and looking forward that I should get the impact across the organizations on the top line or the bottom line kind of things and all. So the leaders are also, they are also started thinking, and they have taken their role from a transactional or a transitional kind of a leadership to a transformation leaderships. And a lot of examples, you just see uh, whenever the Apple is launching their product, just see the the managing director of the chair, the company, he comes in front of the stage and he talks about the features and functionality, through which he's trying to showcase that what kind of the benefit you are going to get it with this particular model. So that shows that the leaders are also on the front, and they are supporting the team for for bringing the transitions from A stage to the B stage. Because I've seen it, I mean, say earlier, say 15, 20 years back, when we are talking about the change management, it was more of, getting aligned with some of the cycles. Like if you take the example of, SAP cycles, or you take the example of any of the ERP, I'm saying, or any of the software development, product lifecycle management kind of things,
Mhm.
or product lifecycle management. So there, the change management was considered, okay, we need to, upskill the, say our populations. Okay, so when the training will start, when the product is ready,
Yeah.
then we start bringing the people on the name of, they are the power users, they are the key users, they are the end users. So based on these three roles, they conduct the training, and they feel that once the go live is completed of that particular project, people will they will start using. But that's not the case. You take the example of Nestle and all. They have invested almost $100 million for for end to end ERP implementations, and that got failed. And the reason, if you see the top four reasons for the failure of any of the big transformational program, top four will be all related with the people only. So like resistance from the people, there was no proper system where they can get the educations and try to understand that what benefit they are going to get it, how this benefit is going to make their life easy. So in spite of getting into this kind of a conversations, which is a very positive conversation, people will start, okay, if the change is happening, then I will become redundant. How I will, learn how to use the new software, and also that way, the lot of negativity was going on. And I can give you some of the examples. I basically belong to the eastern part of India, and I was doing one of the project for the, I can say, the prime project for the government of India, and it was basically bringing that organization, say, from a paperless to paperful to the paperless. So it's
Okay.
basically e-governance project, and this was, I think, in the year of 2005, 2006. And there are a lot of trade union also, and trade union, you understand, when you're talking about the I mean, the southern part, how the trade union, they play in the role in that particular scenario. So sometimes they are very productive, sometimes they are completely unproductive. So I was just talking to one of the top officer of that particular office, and name of that project was MCA 21, that is the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in 21st century, that is paperful to paperless. And the problem statement was, if you wanted to go for a registration of the company, you have a lot of the processes which was not customer, I can say, the customer centricity kind of things was there. So you have to do a lot of the effort for simply getting the registration of the company and all, going many times to physically to the office, the ROC office, that is called the registrar of company's office, for for naming of your company, for the payment for the registrations, then filing of your annual reports and all, for getting the the signature authenticated for the board of directors, because they are the basically owner of the company. So those kind of scenarios where a lot of the physical interface was
Correct.
required with the ministry, plus the customers, so I can say the companies and all. And I remember in one of the case when I was in Delhi, just during the the filing period, I'm say, every year, the as a part of the company's act, I mean, say, company law, you have to file a annual report to the ROC office. At that particular point of time, the ROC used to call Delhi police to control the the mob and all, because a lot of the people, they were coming for filing, because the last date is coming, even in the IT also, income tax,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
filing and all. So that was the scenarios, yeah. And I remember those kind of the scenarios. But the best part is that once this got implemented,
Yeah, now
now you
hardly
can
we do have to do, because I know how the
yeah,
process is. Everything is e-signature. It is everything is. You don't have to physically. Definitely, I never went to
mhm,
a ROC to do anything for that
not at
matter.
all.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything
yeah.
is happening with a click of mouse. They are
Yes.
managing 6 lakhs 5,000 50,000 companies across India, and you
Uh-huh.
can register your company even sitting in a place which is in Hawaii, or maybe in Miami, or maybe you're sitting in Alaska, and you can get registered.
Get it
So even the
done. Yeah.
payments, yeah. So I'm saying, the leaders are basically now, they have also realized the throughput of the change management, and how it is going to add a lot of values to their organization. And that's why they have also changed their role, so from traditional role to getting into a transformational role. That's a big paradigm shift.
True, absolutely. And one thing picking up from the your earlier whatever you like mentioned is the way we looked at change management. Is earlier it was more training oriented. Everything starts at that point. Communicate, maybe yeah, this is coming, and then you go and train them. So from there, you spoke about how if you're not bringing people along, there will be a problem. So coming to that, what kind of resistances have you seen, and how have you kind of, managed it well? Give us a few stories. Your stories are very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, sure. So when you talk of change, there will be always resistance to change, because the change is a journey from a known world to a completely unknown world. So there will be a lot of anxiety, there will be a lot of fear and
Yeah.
all. And if you take the theory of the value of disappear, which talks about once they understand that yes, this change is going to happen, because there is a business requirement, there is a top management commitment and all. So then they will, okay, fine, if it is there, then the next part will be related to the fear part. So fear is basically, if I get into this particular journey, how I am going to survive, so what kind of the new skills I am going to learn and all. So those kind of the fear factor will be there. And then gradually they will get into the exploring what's for me into this particular the change and all. So it's
Yes.
basically talking about the benefits. So I call
Mhm.
it the reframe, what's in it for me when I'm taking this or accepting this particular change. And then you get into the upskilling and reskilling kind of things, because you're also defining redefining the processes, you are
Mm-hmm.
redesigning the processes, you are enabling by putting a lot of digitalizations or automations into the process and all, and those all things will be accepted by the people, those who are at the population level. So the
Mm-hmm.
major challenges based on my past experience, I have seen it from the middle management. And why I'm saying middle management, because if you talk about the top management, they are the sponsors and all,
Yes.
and the impact will be not with the same, I can say, the same velocity to all the departments. So like
True.
if
Yep.
I wanted to implement say success factor or a workday, it's going to impact only my HR folks. If I am going to implement say salesforce.com, then it's going to impact only my sales people
Sales.
and all. But if I am going to implement the ERP system into the
Yes.
organizations, or if I talk of the wanted to implement the AI for
Yeah.
my organizations,
Mm-hmm.
which is now you started talking about the generative AI, or a
Mm.
lot of the lot of the emerging technologies also bringing the disruptions and all. So those kind of the disruptions can be managed in a very meaningful way when you are adopting some of the framework which is available, plan, lead, and sustain kind of things. So it is more aligned with the Adhikar model of the ProSci. Okay, so where you have to
Okay.
start with the awareness creations kind of things and all, because education is it's very important. And in most of the cases, when we take a call for the change management, we take a call by sitting into the boardroom. Change management is not exercise which can manage from the boardroom. It's always better that you go to the field, fasten your belt, take out your sleeves, and then get dirt your hand into that. So those kind of the
Yes.
mindset is required. And I'm feeling some of the change management professionals now, they are
Mm.
not only talking the things, okay, it is possible, we can do it in the boardroom and all, but they are actually going into the ground zero, and they are they are basically implementing, and also ensuring that whatever they are implementing as a part of the change management or as a part of the transformation, that should get adopted by the users, because the actual value will not come from the planning which you are doing, from the implementation which you are doing, until unless it is not by adopted by the the users. You're not going to get the impact of that. So there are a lot of stories. I remember one of the assignment which was doing based out of Denmark, and that particular client organizations, when we step into the change management process. So I just met with the managing director called CEO of the company, and then just to understand what is the velocity of the change, what change we are talking of, kind of things and all. Then ultimately, I just started talking to all the stakeholders there. I mean, all the senior management, and I was just missing, some of the representative which is coming from the work council, like trade union in India. The work council is very, very powerful when you're talking about the Europe. He said, no, they are not required. They are just unproductive people, and why you want to bring them here? I said, look, I mean, I still remember his name was Thomas. So I said, look, Thomas, I can understand what you're talking of, but okay, let's plan for one particular meeting with them. Then I mean, every time when I request for having a meeting with the trade work councils and all, it is being completely dropped by talking something. Something different in spite of focus assistance to the managing director. I said, okay, Manoj, you are insisting a lot. They will call me not Manoj, Manoj. So we can okay, we can arrange one meeting with them, but I am giving you one caution. Your entire the effort which you are putting, it will go into infutile. So it's not going to be a productive discussion. Well, let me try on that. So there are four trade the work councils. I mean, so the officials, I can say the member. Two were available physically in the office, and two were into the other locations. So I said, okay, let's arrange some video conferencing and all. So they arranged it and all, and they left me there. And then I started, okay, now tell me. So they started, talking about, okay, you are a, representative of management. I know what you're going to do it on the name of transformation. You're going to take our job. How I will survive this. And so a lot of, the I can say the
Usual.
allegation is started on me and all. And I thought, okay, look, I mean, listen, have you understand what we are talking of? Is anybody from the management in the past, they have approached you to discuss about 10, 15 minutes just to talk about it? Now, my first question was in front of the work council was that, what will happen when the company will get closed down? So how you are going to take care of your family members and all, how you're going to survive and all. So those were some of the trigger point, I can say. I just started my conversation, and they said, okay. uh, then I started running end to end that particular transformational program, and how this transformational program is going to take care of their upskilling and reskilling, because the company has to change, the business operating model is changing, the target operating model is changing, the organization is changing. So you have to also change if you really wanted to be competitive and survive into the market. So that was my, I can say, the tagline which I have used it there. And then they started listening. Okay, fine, Manoj, you are there with okay, we are giving you 20 minutes to tell me what change is happening. Then I run with the end to end the processes, and then also talked about sessions the management is going to take care of, what kind of the benefit you are going to get it, and how you can make yourself relevant and agile by learning the new skills which I am talking of. Then they realized, okay, Manoj, I think thank you for all the discussions, and I think you have opened our eyes, and thanks for your time. At least we have understood that this particular transformation is happening for the organizations. For us it is not management or the work council kind of things. So this is how you have to get the buy-in, you have to bring everybody on the same page when you're talking about the transformations. And we have seen it like some of the I'm also a research scholar who has done PhD into the organizational change management itself. So the most important part is that if you really wanted to make your transformation program successful, please plug your entire populations right in the beginning of the change management cycle, not in the later part of the change cycle, because the resistance starts when you do something and you're not doing any kind of education or communication,
That
because
time
each
is
and every
they start
yeah,
thinking, okay, what is
yes,
happening?
yeah, yeah. So it's always good, any change which you are managing, it is always very good, because each of the change management is a unique in itself. It's a situation specific, it's a real time interventions, and it's a very empirical. So you have to take care of these three things, because if you say, okay, I do have structure of the change management, yes, that is going to help you, but it will help you with your brain, because every change is a unique in itself. Every organization by culture also it's very different.
It,
So you have to
mm,
first understand, first to gauge and understand what is the DNA of the organization, because that is going to define what are the potential risks which you are going to face when you are talking about the change management. So these are the things which we should take care when we talk of the change management. Yeah.
absolutely. And, speaking of culture, which you just mentioned, you have the experience of working multicultural scenarios or multi-geos involved sometimes. And sometimes maybe in India itself, only if you're working through quite a bit, it is quite multicultural that way. So, so how does that pose a separate kind of a challenge during change management? Or how do you manage that kind of a scenario?
Yeah, obviously, some of the people, I mean, say, yeah, been of one of the the biggest aerospace company. They said, okay, Manoj, I understood your the framework, I understood your charter and all everything. Let's discuss and discover how we wanted to excel into the entire process for the transformation. That is basically a mindset which I am talking for the US. If you get into say Europe, they will say, okay, let's first discuss, bring a consensus from all the critical stakeholders, and then drive the change. This is the second culture I am talking of. The third culture, which is basically into the Middle East, they had us. I was doing one particular assignment for Toyota, and they said, okay, we had you, we are paying for you. Why you want us to to help you and all? Because 3 4 people they cannot make the change with a population of 15 or 20K kind of employees. So it is always good that you should culture part is a very imperative. It's very imperative in the sense that you should understand. And that's why when we start any kind of a change management initiative as a part of the subject matter expert, first we do two analysis. One is the stakeholder analysis, which is going to help us that what are the pockets of the change management which are pro to the change, which are neutral to the change, and which are basically completely negative to the change. So you have to make into these three pockets, because based on the pockets your interventions will be will be decided, or it will be decisive for you. The second part is basically understanding the culture, where we do the change readiness survey or change readiness assessments, which also gives a kind of the risk which you're going to face when you're talking about the change management. So these two assessments gives you a gauging of the organizations, or assessment of that decides about your change charter, that decides about your change planning, that decides about your how you're going to bring some of the key people from the organizations who is going to play the role of a change agent or a change champion or a change catalyst. And then you coach them for that, because You cannot talk of 30 people of the change management who is driving for the change. You have to bring the people from their organization itself who understand more about their processes, more about their organizations, more about their culture, and then make them champion as a change champion, who is going to drive the change in their respective pockets. This is how you
Mhm.
can you can bring, I mean, say, a very consistent impact to the organization, because you will be always seen as an outsider.
Mhm.
So try to play the role of a subject matter expert, mobilize some of the populations, those who are with you for this particular change transformation.
Nowadays, when a solution is given, sometimes it's not easy, meaning in the sense that the process may be long, but we hear a lot of quick fix, okay, like, can you make it short? Can you make it, I need something for the time being, and I'm not thinking long term. So have you come across where that can lead to, more problems later, that you've done a short term fix, but long term it will kind of bring a different twist to the whole thing?
So the change management is not a band-aid solution. It's not a quick fix. Okay. And I've seen, three, four kinds of a model when I'm talking about the change management. Somewhere it's called, they call it plug and play kind of things and all. But change management, when you talk of, it's a consistent effort in a very structured way to drive that particular transformation for that, bring the impact. And that's why, if you see all the top research which is being done by BCG or done by Accenture or some of the publications by Deloitte and all, they are basically, driving the change management as a part of the program management programs and all. You will see that most of the change management get failed only because you're not taking care of the people aspects of change. So there is no shortcut, there is no band-aid solutions, when you're talking of the change management. It's a thing where you're playing with the mindset, where you're playing with the the DNA of the organizations. And when you're talking about the DNA of the organization, a lot of the emotions and the psychological part is there. So, as a change management expert, your first and foremost job is that how quickly you can psychologically connect with the critical stakeholders, because this psychological connect is going to decide whether your change kind of intervention is going to get succeed or not. I still remember, some of my team members, they are very good in, memorizing the name when you're talking about this particular mindset, like in Europe, the people, they're very fond of talking something related to football and all. When you come into the southern India, they are very fond of talking about the cricket. Okay. But if you go into, say, US and all, they talk about not football, not cricket, they derby, and then what is the plan for the weekend kind of things and all. So these are the basically things through which you can quickly connect with the your stakeholders, talk what they wanted to listen, and then you place your agenda with those particular kind of attractions or discussions, and try to drive, because those kind of things is going, it's a very small things, but this makes a very it makes a lot of difference, or as a part of the differentiator which is going to define the success of the program, the change program. So it's always better that when you are going, first have a cultural sensitizations, second you understand who are your critical stake conversations, and that conversation, I think, if you take the example of some of the structured way of organizational change management, there is no probing question which is articulated into lines. Okay, when you're meeting with the client on the change management, these are the 10 questions you should ask. It is basically who based on your understanding, based on your past experience, based on your knowledge about the organizational change management, you create the questions, which is a very customized question, and you ask. You cannot ask, oh, why you are not in favor of the change because management has taken a call that this change is going to happen. You cannot directly ask to the client. So you have to a kind of a probing questions with the agenda that whatever I'm asking, it is going to help me understand that this particular person or this particular leader is pro to the change or neutral to the change or against to the change. So this is all I can say. It's a mix of art and science which you have to learn by doing. The prosi or the mark can provide you kind of the framework which you can follow it, but with a lot of the customizations while driving the
It
transformation
has to.
program.
As you said, each change is unique and you have to kind of work to make it for them and
Yeah,
customize it for
absolutely.
that change. And nowadays, we are hearing a lot of things to be done to make an organization future ready. So, what do you think this terminology of being future ready means in terms of talent management? And do you think the way leaders look at talent management has changed?
Yeah, I think the entire landscape got changed. If I ask you a very simple question, I think what motivated the entire world during the COVID period, going from a physical to a completely digital. So there was no CIO, there was no change manager, there was no, I can say the CDO. But this change happened because that was the requirement of the
Need
time.
of that. Yeah.
So when we talk of the future ready and all, I do have a three, major aspects. One is when you talk of the future, the workplace is changing, and you have seen it, how this change
Yep.
has happened in last 3 years. Then the work, the workers are also changing, because now you're not supposed to be in the office all the time. 5 days a week kind of things is not required. You can go with this particular gig economy. The gig talent is becoming a very important part. And when I'm talking about the gig talent, basically you just give me what you want from me and forget about from where I am doing this particular work. Maybe I am going Goa and I am doing this work. Maybe I am going to the Sri Lanka and I am doing this work. So you basically take care of whatever the outcome you're looking for. And there are a lot of software I can talk of, which can monitor your day to day kind of a progress. So for example, I take the example of say workboard. So workboard can give you the real, in spite of waiting for a 6 month kind of appraisal or a quarterly appraisals and all, it gives you a real kind of appraisal. So this is the task I've given you. You have completed or not completed. If not completed, there will be a spillover. And then again, there will be a scrum kind of a meeting where this will be bought as a red flag. Okay. So the mindset, which is required when you talk about the future, first is the workplace. Second is the workers are changing, and third is basically the ecosystem which you are working, that is also changing, which more talking about the talent and all. So you need to be very future ready. So if I ask, I mean, in some of the HR forum where I went, I mean, say particularly in the IAM kind of things and all. So I started talking about something which is related with say Kubernetes, okay, or
Mm-hmm.
talking about a Jira, or talking about the Disco, talking about the Orange. You're just looking on my face. What the hell he's talking of? But when I started explaining on this particular piece, because these all are technology and you cannot be away from the technology. Technology is
Mm.
going to impact you a lot. And we have seen it in last 5 6 years, how the entire learning has got into your fingertips. It's available
Yeah.
24/7. Just take out your smart mobile and you can you can start learning kind of thing. So similarly it is happening. If I wanted to apply for a leave, I need not to open my desktop or come to the office and do that kind of. There are a lot of the organizations like I can talk of the Cisco. They are talking of the future office and all, where everything is enabled. We have developed our own software within the organizations, which is going to help you for doing each and every transactions simply by using your smartphone. Applying for a leave, so journey, if you see it, earlier I think it was more of a how organization was thinking that how I can engage my talent, how can I engage my employee. Now in the next stage they started talking about how I can give a good experience to my employees. Now the third stage, which came only as a part of the future, the future ready or a future work, is basically how I'm empowering my employees. Because coming to the office say 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, it's not going to make you productive. It can make you productive, if you are getting a flexibility, if you're getting kind of a lot of excitement on your work, which can give you a kick. So I can do the same quality of work. Even I remember when the COVID was going on, almost 2.5 years I was operating, from the different locations,
Yeah.
from another place
Mm-hmm.
like Dhanbad and the Ranchi and Asansol for some time, and then I moved to Dehradun for some time. Then I moved to Europe for almost 2 months. So my boss was only, he was concerned. His concern was that whether I am productive or not, whether I am achieving what were the the OKR has been defined. So he was more
Mm-hmm.
on that particular part. In spite of chasing me, why you're not coming to the office, why you have left Mumbai, kind of things and all. So this particular, if you talk of the future and the future ready organizations should provide a platform to their employees, enable them. Like, if I take the example of TCS, they said by 2025 their 70% of the workforce will be working from the remote. Simple.
Hmm.
So how to enable? Because now cyber security kind of things are, that is coming into the picture.
Hmm.
So you need to make your organizations future ready by enabling and empowering your employees. That's the mool mantra, I can say
Bold.
simply. If you're empowering your employees without compromising with the productivity, it's good. And no change is required then.
True, true, absolutely. So now, kind of moving to Manoj, the person. So, what keeps you going? I mean, what has been what inspires you to do what you do?
Okay. So, if you work in the organizations or the leaders, they look for two kind of a person. One who can run their business. Okay. The other who can change their business. I call it CTB and RTB. RTB is run the business and CTB is change the business. So I'm basically, a person who always believe on the CTB, change the business kind of things. And within Reliance, maybe you are seeing that I've spotted myself for 7 years, but in 7 years I have changed my role three times. That is basically,
Okay.
it's a eagle story. You come up with a new avatar. Okay. So 1.0, 1.0 version is not important now. It is redundant. Make yourself relevant by bringing your new avatar, that is 2.0. So from 2.0, if there is a requirement for 3.0, it is also can be done. So what I'm saying, you should always try to upskill and reskill yourself to make relevant, because that is the mool mantra for to excel into this fast changing world. So I keep myself, bringing keeping myself into a new kind of a engagements or assignments, and also uh, practicing, the servant leadership kind of things, because my job is not to uh, do the work. My job is how I am enabling the team, my team members, to do a job in a successful way. Is there any problem? Is there any kind of issues which can be solved? So you provide a path to your employees, so your team members, who can excel in a more effective way, in a more smoother way, and achieve whatever the OKR is basically objective and the key results being defined as a part of your performance appraisal or performance management system. So enable your team, develop the capability of your team, and let them drive. Be on the back seat.
So you are a firm believer of the
Yeah,
enabler, being an enabler, and I think you're being a change management professional. You are walking the talk. I mean, that keeps you going. Is you yourself are transforming, and hence transformation journeys with you are kind of reflecting as how what you are believing. I think it has been a great pleasure having you here and share your insights. I think your stories would inspire the next lot of transformational leaders, because yeah, for us, I think maybe the 10.0 version is where we our gen needs to reach to get everything going. So so viewers, please keep watching these videos, because these leaders have had the experience of doing transformation real time, and these experiences can help us do our stuff better. So keep watching this space for more such videos. Thank you, Manoj, for your time.
yeah. So thanks, Sudeshna, and thanks to Ayush, and also to
Yeah.
the Mark for providing me this particular platform to speak out and try to reach to some of the people, those who are looking forward for their career into the organizational change management. I
Correct.
think they should be always make themselves relevant by upskilling and reskilling.